Hello. Can you guys hear me? Charity, Brainy, can you hear me? Right. Oh, I hadn't even seen your earlier message. Thank you, Brainy. Right. Today is Sunday. It's 4:39 my time. I'd hoped to be started on time again today. You might hear some sound in the background. It's a machine I've been trying to avoid, but it keeps coming on. So for now, we'll just go ahead and get started. Charity, I haven't seen you since we started. When it's okay for you, I would like to see you, even if it's briefly. So welcome back to the Breakthrough Challenge. And Brenny, today your camera is even better. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So day 4 of the Breakthrough Challenge. Yesterday, I recorded an audio that I will send. I sent an introductory audio, but there's a different audio that I will send today. And this is just the 6 steps. So I'm intending to do several audios like those where I just outline what the key ideas are. Because the aim of this challenge is not for us to accumulate a ton of information, but to force ourselves to think deliberately about the subjects that relate to this challenge, and more importantly, to implement. Guys, even if nobody showed up for this challenge, I will show up and do it every day. But most importantly, I will show up and think about the material every day. If I try to teach you something that I'm not doing, I will feel conflicted in myself. This is my challenge to grow. I just have the pleasure and delight of doing it with you. So really, thank you for doing this with me. But I would like to challenge you that let's actually do it, so that by the time we are teaching other people, we are teaching them something that we know. So I want us to do a quick review of what the main pieces we've covered today. The main pieces that we've covered since we started. The first day was intentional growth. All growth starts with intention. And we spoke about those traps. Do you have any specific trap among those ones? Do you have any of those traps that you think is holding you back the most? Because that's the value of these sessions, that I become more aware, you become more aware about what traps keep you back. Is it the assumption trap? Are you presuming that you will grow automatically? Is it the knowledge trap? Is it the comparison trap, which was a trap for me at some point in my life? So it's a question of you knowing where you. I'm seeing a message from the account name. I've just realized. I guess it's access link I used to set up. There's a way to change your name. Yes, we've been calling you Charity. There is a way to change. If you go to the participants list and click on the name, there will be an arrow to your right. You click on that arrow, it can change your name to your correct name. So which of those assumptions are holding you back? That is the first step. Yes, Brenny?
Yeah, for me, mine was timing.
I can't hear you, sorry. Just type it for now, and then until we can figure out. Ivy. I'm so sorry. We've been calling you Charity. Yeah, nice to see you, Ivy. Thank you for being on. Yeah. I can't hear you. Are you mute? I think you're muted.
Hi, sorry, yeah. Actually didn't think that I was
you
the
know what is
Charity.
happening? I am using an external microphone. Let me change the audio settings so that I can use the. Just give me a second. I changed the audio settings. The speaker is okay. Can we try now? I think I should be able to hear you.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think I I didn't know I was the charity being involved. I had no idea. That's when I've actually seen like, wait, where's my name under the participant list? So that's when I had to ask. Sorry.
No, that's great. Thank you for asking. I wouldn't have known. Brenny, you are going to say something. Now I can hear you if you speak.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I was saying like mine was about timing and inspiration trap.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
so I feel like I need to be more disciplined when it comes to time, and then inspiration sometimes is like I lack motivation. Like
Yes.
I'll start doing getting the way and I feel like I can.
Yeah. 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 So, inspiration trap is a big one. Remember, inspiration trap is when you wait to feel like it before you start doing what you need to do. And rarely will feeling like it result in you doing something consistently. But if you start doing something consistently, whether or not you feel like it, you will start feeling like it because it will become normal for you. And of course, timing. Remember the timing trap, there are many aspects, but the biggest aspect is when you are waiting for the right time. You're just sitting there waiting for the right time. You are like, it's not your time for me to start. It's not your time for me to start. When we want to achieve, especially a big goal, it is always the right time to start doing something small about the goal. So we can always start. We will never be 100% ready. We can always get started anytime that we've set a big goal. The other one is perfection trap. Waiting to start when you know the best way. Once I know what the best way is, then I will get started. The other big one is the mistake trap. Wanting to start only when you know you will not make any mistake, which means it's never going to happen because you will make mistakes, whether or not you like it. If you're learning something new, you're trying something new, you're going to a new place, you're engaging in a new project or a new job, you are going to feel uncomfortable. And if you make mistakes, as long as you anticipate that you are likely to make mistakes, you will learn from those mistakes and they will help you move forward. So the traps, that is so important. We'll keep coming back over and over and over. The six steps of developing a personal growth plan. These steps are not meant to be done once. This is something you do like every month. You come back to it. Every month you come back and review. Do you remember the 6 steps of developing a personal development plan? Which of those 6 steps have you had any struggle with?
I was decision and action.
And
Like on
those are the biggest.
decision and action, I'll give it from scale 1 to 10. I'll give it 5.
Yeah, yeah. How about decision?
I would say decision in terms of like working on my goal, not like on my personal growth, but like working on maybe a business that I'm supposed to start working on. Like, it
Yeah.
will take. It has to do with like always waiting for the right time. Like, no, let me wait until I get enough money, then
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so
I goes to action because I'm not taking the action. I
yeah.
won't be able.
So you see how the two pieces connect with each other. The only way to get out of the trap is decision and action. You make a decision, you make it public so that you get leverage. Then you focus on what you will work on. Then number 4, you take action. Then of course you you improve your awareness by reflecting. And number 6, you reward yourself by sharing what you are learning with somebody else so that it can become yours. So the only way out of the traps is decision. And the challenge is sometimes we make decisions, but we make a decision to grow diffusely. It's not specific. It has to be a specific growth goal. We only have 3 months until the end of the year. We are never going to grow in 10 areas. We have to narrow and specify where we want to grow. Narrow and identify which area do I want to grow in. That's what helps you. That's what leads you to a level of consistency that allows you to become even more effective. Because remember this, you will struggle with the trap every day. You will struggle with the trap every day. You will start doing something and suddenly you see somebody else's business and you're like, oh, my business is so small. So you are facing the comparison trap even after you've started. So you have to be aware about these traps because they will show up every day. They will show up every day. And unfortunately, sometimes we compare ourselves on areas that we can't do anything about, or aspects we can't do anything about, or some of the toughest ones are when, for example, families compare each other based on, oh, our children are not as bright as their children, or our children are not as talented in football or in XYZ as their children. The comparison trap it's comparison most of the time is generalized, where we look at each other and we are like, oh, I think his or her life is better than mine. Yet, if you go behind the scenes and actually see what their life is about, you'll realize that it's not any better. It's just a different experience they're having. And if I make the most of my own experience, I will probably be okay. So you will deal with the traps every day. And the way to get out of the traps is to make the decisions and stick with the decision no matter what happens. Make the decision and give yourself a duration of time you have to implement. And this coming week, I would like us to now have specific decisions that we are going to implement and follow through with those decisions until the end of the year.
Yeah.
Ivy, any specific trap that when you were reflecting, did you get the traps to personal growth and the 6 steps of personal development?
Yeah, I got the 6 steps, but the traps, no, not at all, because I had joined late. But
Okay.
I will say I have. Is there a perfectionist trap? I'm
Yes.
that kind of a person. Yeah, so basically, I won't do something till I'm like sure I have to, because I think I'm in all traps. Comparison was there. I'll tell the traps that I think I have heard you mention. There's a comparison trap. I'm like, if I start today, when I want to start something, I'll go to maybe the people that I see as my competitors, and I'm like, wow, okay, they are far. I'm just starting now, and they started like 5-10 years ago. That is an off for me. Perfectionist, that has been in me. I am trying to work through it, but I will say maybe I'm making excuses, because I usually say I'm more of a flexible perfectionist instead of an obsessive perfectionist, but I was just told that is just an excuse I'm trying to make. Yeah, those two. So there's also another trap, but yeah, I'm still working through it. I don't know.
I think the 3 traps that go together is a perfectionist trap, comparison trap, and the mistake trap.
Yeah, that's one. Yes, I don't want to do a
Those,
mistake. I want to like hit it from that way. That's one.
that's just like a baby who is still breastfeeding, hoping that the day they start walking, right? They'll just walk all the way from the house to the car on their own, in their own shoes, because that is the reality. If we are going to do something new, we have to be willing to walk like those little babies and stumble and fall and stumble and fall and stumble. What if when a baby starts to walk, the mother allows that baby to try for 2 to 3 weeks and the mother says, no, you are not making any progress. That's enough. Stop. You're never going to be able to walk. And that baby never tries to walk again from there. Because sometimes that's what we do to our dreams. We give our dream 2, 3, 4 months and we say, no, this dream is not for me. I'm out. And yet, if we had done that with how we speak, if we had done that with how we write, can you imagine how horrible our handwritings were when we were in nursery school?
That's funny. Yeah, definitely.
We had art. We were producing the Michelangelo kind of art with our hands, the kind of jargon we were drawing. But here,
Yeah.
we are today. Those are the traps that we have to pay attention to. Then yesterday, the second day, we spoke about vitals, the values, interests, temperament, all activities around the clock, life goals, and strengths and weaknesses. What did you pick when you are reviewing that area all by yourself?
Um, I was still working on it.
Yeah, keep going, keep going. Ivy, had you gotten that piece about the vitals? This was about self-awareness and how there are many ways in which we can look at ourselves and evaluate our life.
No, not really, but I'd like to ask, what did you mean by temperance?
Temperament.
Yeah, temperament, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so temperament is just your natural inclination. So temperament is one of the biggest influences on your personality. So there are some people whom we call reserved and some people we call extroverted, right? And there's always
Yes.
a combination between these two. And so that's what temperament refers to. Let me see if I can find a good link to send you guys that you can use to um, just to do, because there are many various self-assessments.
Actually, I did a test on that,
Mm-hmm.
on the 4 temperament, and I
Yeah.
got out 20 on like phlegmatic.
Mm-hmm.
At 20, the 19 was a sanguine.
That is a very rare combination.
Yeah,
which
I
means
got that,
which
and
means
then on
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
also on temperament, I feel like I've been doing much better when it comes to like having healthy relationship with people, not just people, and also like having my personal boundary, because
Yeah,
sometimes it's like we tend to really burn ourselves out trying to help other people, but then in return it's like you're not getting the same energy that you're giving out. So if I feel like the relationship, whether it's friendship, family, or a job, if I feel
yeah.
like it's not healthy, then I'll just have to leave it and love it from a distance. So I'll
It
say
it,
that.
it takes courage to do that and do it
Yeah.
consistently. So I'm hoping that by you doing this, that it helps you to it improves your self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ivy, I have found one here that you could try. And I've placed it in the comments, the chat box. You could click on
Okay.
that link. You could click on that link. I could also place it. Are you in the WhatsApp group?
WhatsApp group, yes, I am. I will prefer in the WhatsApp group. It will be easier, right?
Yes, I've placed it in the WhatsApp group also, so that
Okay, thank
my phone is not connected right now. But once I connect my phone, you will be able to see it in the chat box in the
you.
WhatsApp.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So so temperament, so all those values, this is a, we haven't covered this area, but this is like, I mean, it's a random. So if can you write down, like, what do you think are your top 3 core values? And uh, we will do the definitions and everything else later, but for now, what do you think are your top 3 core values? And I remember the
All right.
first time I did exercise, I had no idea what my core values were. And the ones I thought were my core values, I realized
Yeah.
later were not my top core values. They were the values I hoped would become my top, but the way I was living at that time, the extent that I was making the best of what I had was showing a different set of core values. But this is a beginning. What do you think are your top 3 core values? And you're not going to share this with any of us. So this is just your private. Mhm.
Why? But it'll be good to know so you can know which area in life that you need
I'm
to
going.
work on. But
So I'm going to do. There will be a whole piece about core values. So right now,
mm,
I'm just asking you to see. So top three core values, and then when it comes to personal growth, which of those core values do you see being the most useful in terms of supporting you?
wow. Okay.
So this is an example that I will give you that I at the time when I started the journey of deliberately growing, I had thought that efficiency, productivity was one of my core values, but it was not. My core value at that time was optimization. And optimization, I defined it where I would do what is required. And this is something we
Mm,
learned in school. If
yeah.
there are 20 pages of notes, I will read the 20 pages of notes and go to the exam and be done with the exam and walk away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, we end up trying to live our lives the same way. And yet, if I was going to grow, it means I had to embrace some attitude of doing the most I can, not just doing what is required, doing the most I can. So if it's in personal growth, doing the most I can, or I had to have a core value like self-discipline or consistency. I have to have a value that positions that gives me the energy to grow. Remember when we defined the values, we said values are like the fuel. They
Yeah.
provide you the energy. Values determine what is priority in your life and in my life. And that's why it's extremely important to plug in the core values that truly help you. But so the pathway there is not for me to just identify mentally like, oh, this is my core value, this is my core value. We are going to go through a process to identify what we need to realign, because once you adopt, if you adopt three new core values, you have to change
Mm-hmm.
so many things in your life for those values to become real, unless they are
Yeah.
just like the core values of the parastatols, which are on the wall, but the behavior in the corridor has nothing to do with those core values. You have
Yeah.
you have to align your life with those core values. So the first step to start is to figure out the way I am living, the way I learn, the way I grow, what core values are driving me, and which of those can I change as a beginning. So that, because sometimes I take people through this session, then they go home and they select 8 new core values. Even Safaricom has only 5 core values. It's as big as it is. So you and I, our lives are much narrower. We we would have a maximum of 4 main core values, but usually 2 or 3 core values, right?
Yeah.
So the other exercise, and we will come back to these exercises and now do them more fully. The other exercise, I want you to write down 15 positive qualities about yourself.
Mm, okay.
15. Isn't that so much? 15.
Okay, just write only 15.
Okay.
So the actual exercise, you need to come up with 100 positive qualities about your life, but you do that in the course of 7 days. In other words, it forces you, because if I asked you to write for me 10 negative qualities about yourself, your brain is ready. It's like, where do we write? Give me the pen, and it starts writing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
yes, and that's, you see, when I started doing public speaking, I would go and deliver a 2-hour presentation, but I shrub one word. When I leave the presentation, my brain thinks about the one word I shrubbed the whole day, the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you. Maybe your life is different, but for me, that's what used to happen. I would go
Yeah.
and think over and over about the same thing, just the one tiny thing. I made a 2-hour presentation, but here I am beating myself down for the 30 seconds when there was a problem, a hitch with the presentation mechanism, and that's what my brain focuses on. Let's start with 15 now, and let's see how far you can go. Write down 15 positive qualities about yourself.
I already did. So
How many have you written down?
15.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That is very rare. Ivy, where are you? Judith has joined us. Welcome, Judith. I see Charity Mwangi. Hello, Charity. Hi, Judith.
Hi. So I have a question about when I tried to join in, I couldn't because it was asking for a passcode. And every time I join, my name is Charity Mwangi before I change. Any reason for that?
Wait, so Judith is Charity?
Before I change, like I change.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I'll give you I set a passcode. I don't even remember it. Let me.
The passcode is 90 strong.
Yes.
Oh,
If you got the email, it's just right below your email.
Yes.
okay.
90 strong. And I had done that because sometimes people will find the link and then they just show up. And
Yeah.
they're not interested in the meeting. They're just coming to.
See.
Sorry for interrupting how things were flowing, but I needed to be sure.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
That's so 90 strong. That's if you have any trouble, are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. You can always ask. Yes, Brenny, that's the password, the passcode.
Thank you
It's
so
just a
much.
security feature.
And I was just helping her to write it just in case.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. So Brenny, now for you, the aim. Remember, the aim is 100.
Yeah.
So
I have no problem with that.
the aim is 100. So keep going. You keep going. So this is one of those exercises we will do a couple of times every month until you finish this program. And you will not be using a place where you've written before. You're not referring to where you wrote them. You write them afresh.
Okay.
Until it gets to a place where if you're writing, if you want to write 20 of them, they come easily. Because if you don't deliberately make the effort to be aware of what your good qualities are, your brain has no difficulty remembering the quote unquote bad qualities. You have to make the decision to remember what the good qualities are and to bring them up every single time. Judith, Ivy, how are you doing with that?
Apparently, I'm just in 4. I'm really thinking, honestly, I'm in 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the value of the exercise. That it's we are building. Remember, day 2 was self-awareness. Day 3 was self-image. I felt like we can rush through. I mean, I have a whole curriculum for 90 days structured out with subjects that keep feeding back to what we have already covered. But the aim is not to get to the end. The aim is to get the most along the way. Even if it means that some of these subjects will cross over to the next year, that's not a problem. As long as the days that you show up, that you are building up on what you learned the previous day to the next day. And I'm not telling you to do things that I am not doing. I was doing that yesterday and I pushed myself like today I have to get to 50. I did not get to 50. And yet I have done this exercise and gotten to 100. So what I'm going to do is after this, I will sit down and keep adding more until I get to 100. I place that away and then I start writing on a new piece, challenge myself like over the next 7 days, make sure that I'm at 100. And then I try to pick qualities that I'm not aware about in myself. And I will show you some of the ways in which to actually look at, because I can't have a positive mindset about myself. I can't esteem myself with value if I do not see some of these aspects of my life. And it takes deliberate effort. It takes deliberate effort for us to do that. Do you feel ready to move to the next step? I see Marwa has joined us. Welcome, Marwa. That's I'm reading your name as it appears on the screen. Now I know that maybe it's not always the name written on the screen is not always the actual name. But I see, Mara, welcome to the Breakthrough Challenge. I think this is your first time here. Today is day 4. We've been doing this every day, and you will see some of the material we've covered before come up. And as we go along, we'll start covering some new material. So primarily, today was primarily a review day. Oh, I got it right. Yeah, I have Kenyan genes. So Marwa, thank you for your message. He's congratulating me on my amazing pronunciation of his name, which is good. I don't want to get it wrong. Since I moved to the US, guys, I can't tell you how many times my name has been butchered. I have had Mogire, Mojaya, Mogire, Mogire, all forms I never even thought would be how my name would end up pronounced. So today, being Sunday, I mean, this was this whole weekend, I wanted to share with you a model that we will come to many, many times over. I would like you to write these are 6 letters. So the letters are SIB, SIB, CBE. I will type it in the chat box. SIB, CBE. So the first S, if you just want to complete what the acronym stands for, the first S is spiritual. It's the only S anyway. So the S is spiritual. The I is identity. The B is beliefs. The C is capability. The second B is behavior. And the last E is environment. So if you could draw those, if you could create a graphic, you're not going to have to do that now, but I'm just giving you an idea how this works. That when you move, the S is the innermost. If you had like a series of circles, the S is the innermost, it's at the center. And the second layer is identity. And the second layer is beliefs. The second layer is, the next layer rather is capability. The outermost layer is environment. That's how this works. And there are many models of explaining our lives in terms of how the elements of our lives fit together. But this to me is the one that helps me the most in determining the direction my life is going, what I need to focus on, and what, if changed, would have the most impact. So there you have it. Most of the time, we are trying to influence our behavior and our capabilities. The environment, most of the time we just complain about the environment. We just complain about the environment, but we are trying to change our behavior and our capabilities. Yet, the 3 parts of our lives that have the biggest influence are further in. Your beliefs. You can try to become consistent all you can. You try to show up, so you behave yourself consistently. But if you have an identity that says you are inconsistent, it's only going to be a waste of time. You can try to become self-disciplined. You are like, I have to show up. But if you have a belief in there that says you are indisciplined, you don't have the capacity to show through. then it's not going to happen. So your why, your purpose, the spiritual core of who you are, why you are here, what your life means, is the single most important factor in determining the quality of your life and the direction your life goes. Then your identity. Who are you? Who are you? And when you start writing about your qualities, you are essentially beginning to look at, how do I see myself? Yesterday, I said that you can't add value to yourself unless you see value in yourself. You can't add value to you if you can't believe in yourself if you don't think you are worth believing in. You can't respect yourself if you don't believe you are worth being respected. Because sometimes we demand from other people what we have not given ourselves. That's why when people compliment us, we feel uncomfortable. And yet, when they criticize us, we feel it. In other words, we have a bias for feeling the criticism so deeply, but we don't feel the compliments. Our aim in doing this is to get to a place where when we are complimented, we feel it as deeply as we feel the criticism, so that we can let go of the bias we have. And then we also become more aware of our positive side, because that's the side that we can grow more. You can grow a lot more in your areas of strength than in your areas of weakness. Because a lot of the time we waste time trying to grow in our areas of weakness. Weaknesses are supposed to be controlled, but the strengths are supposed to be optimized and multiplied and made maximum use of. It's like having a farm, a piece of land where a quarter of it is all rocks and the other 3/4 is fertile and ready to be planted. But you spend the next 2-3 months trying to dig up the rocky area for it to look like the fertile area. So that is trying to use your behavior to dig up, to influence your identity, and it doesn't work like that. Your spiritual forces influence everything. Your identity influences your beliefs, your capability, and your behavior. Then your capability positions what you can do. And then, of course, your behavior influences you and influences your environment. The environment is the one thing that we don't have total control over. We have total control on our spiritual forces, on our identity, on our beliefs, on our capability, and on our behavior. In other words, we have control of over 90% of our lives. Where I may not be able to control the traffic jam and the rain and the cold temperature in Nairobi a few months ago, but I can control the temperature inside. I can control everything else. So yesterday we touched a little bit on identity, and you by writing down those statements, you have sort of touched on identity. I just want you to write down a few more sentences, right? So in terms of identity, and I want you to write on 2 areas, on character and on self-discipline, right? So can you write 5 statements under character and 5 statements under discipline? I am. Each of the statements starts with I am. I am. It could be I do, or I show up, or I have, or I believe in, but it's most, just put them under identity. We will straighten these things out. We are delving into subjects that maybe, I don't want to presume that any of you have gone through this. We are delving into subjects that can sometimes be new for a lot of people. So I am, I have, we just under character and under self-discipline. I will let you carry on that exercise at the end, continue doing it after the session. today. Do you have any question on this exercise?
Yes, I do. Ivy here.
Yes, Ivy.
Focusing on the positive side, or just any, when we're writing about the character and discipline, is it we should write only the positive comments, or?
Yes, so just it's here you're right, you know your aim is to raise awareness, right? So this is what I usually encourage people. If what seem like quote unquote negative attributes come up and you try not to write them, they clog your mind, they sort of hold you back. Your brain is like, why are we focusing on that when we haven't written this? If they come up, write them down. It's very important for you to become aware of what your weaknesses are. But 100%, I will assure you, for every weakness you have a strength that can counter that weakness, except you have to become aware of what that strength is and start making greater use of it, starting leveraging it more. So don't suppress anything that shows up. Write it down, right? You will realize how fewer your faults are compared to your strengths the more you do this exercise. And your strengths start to come to the top. That is the aim. Does that make it any clear?
Yes, it has. Thank you so much.
So that's the aim. The aim is for every weakness you have, you have a strength within, or you have a strength that you can develop to counter that weakness. And remember, when it comes to weaknesses, we are not hoping that we push this weakness to zero and strength to here. For every weakness, we want to match it with a strength. We want to figure out what that is. So for example, if your weakness is your inability to listen, what is the strength that you need? Develop the ability to listen, right? If your weakness is postponing things, procrastinating, what do you need to do? Develop the discipline of doing something every day, of taking action immediately. And you don't have to act on everything. You just need to start. So we have the capacity to develop. We can develop any discipline we want. If you look at those 6 letters I gave you, that model I gave you, from spiritual to identity to beliefs, capability to behavior and environment, your behaviors influence what you believe, and what you believe determines how you see yourself. So it sort of builds backwards. Your behaviors, your capacity determines how you behave, right? Your behaviors determine what you believe about yourself. What you believe determines how you see yourself. But all these are more external forces. At the center, where we call spiritual, you can just call it higher purpose. That is the highest, that is the best source of any energy you are going to require. So for example, in making a commitment to grow personally, if you do not draw your inspiration and from as deep a place as possible, you are going to give up. And this is one of the things I'm very excited that we will have the opportunity to do together. I have done this probably 45 times because I keep doing it. I don't have to wait for another coach to come and take me through it. So it's weird that sometimes I would go and listen to recordings I made when I was teaching people in 2016 and 2017, and listen to it as though I am a consumer. I don't know who was teaching this, and then to try to do that exercise. So feel free to share what you learn here, even if it's the actual audios. Share it with somebody whom you think might benefit. Don't share it with people who will start criticizing you for, oh, what kind of things are you listening to? Why are you wasting time? Let's go make our nails, right? Don't waste it. Don't waste it with anybody who doesn't see value in this. Be very selective. Your growth is very vulnerable and very fragile now. Be very selective regarding who you share this material with.
Yeah.
My final question to you before we do a wrap up, How many of you have read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Mm-hmm. Have you've read it, the whole of the book?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else who has read that book?
Yeah.
I haven't.
So we are so that's one of the I have this is probably maybe the 8th or 9th book time that I'm reading that book, and I would like us to read a specific section of that book. There is the chapter that is called the Principles, Paradigms, and Principles, and I had downloaded a PDF and I extracted that section,
Okay.
and I want to send you just that section. It's about less than 20 pages. I would like us to read it, and I will tell you when next week we will come to it, sometime next week.
All
But
right.
I'm telling you in advance so that you can create time to read it. I'm trying to find it, and as soon as I do, all right, I found it. So I'm going to share it in the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
Anybody who is not on the WhatsApp group? All right, I have.
I'm not on the WhatsApp group, Marwa.
Myra, okay, I will let me share the link to the WhatsApp group here. Are you able to see the chat box?
Yeah.
Okay, I will share the link to the WhatsApp group in the chat box right now. I need to reconnect my phone so that I can access WhatsApp on the laptop. All right. Okay, Mara, I have placed the link in the chat box. If you click on it, it should lead you directly to the WhatsApp group. I have shared the I've shared the book, and I've shared the book in the group. Everyone has seen it?
Yes, in a text message popping up.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, all right. So today, what's let's hear from everyone. What have you picked from today? We close off this Sunday morning so that I can go get started on my day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I'm here rocking my t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I am ready to change my story.
Ooh, okay. All right. So about the what? The formula SBICB. Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Like, yeah, thank you for bringing up that, because for me, I've been working between on spirituality, identity, and beliefs, because it's been like trying to reprogram the way you are raised up, because you grow up being told, like, you're not smart, you cannot do this, you cannot accomplish that. And I remember, because I've been out of the country for the past 15 years, and I remember during my first year when I chose my course, I had math in it. But then I had these feelings like, okay, where I come from, no one really excels in math. So I felt like I should, like, give up during the first year. That's because of the belief that I had, about myself. And then during the second year, I had accounting. So I was like, I don't think I can do this at all. But one day I woke up, I was like, you know what? Who am I really? Like, who am I? am I going to define myself because from what my parents have told me? Or am I who I should think like I should be? Or am I who I think my friends think I am? Or if I feel like, if I know like you're an extension of God's creation, then you don't have any limits. Like you can do anything that you can put your mind to do. So there's no like boundaries. And you bringing up this, like it just took me back. Like it took me so much time to really reprogram the way I used to see myself or the way I used to view myself. And then from that, I'll ask myself, like, who am I really now? And what do I want to accomplish in my life? And I'll write everything down. So when you brought about like this exercise of like writing 15 qualities, for me it was like a walkover because I could write like 100. And not because like I just want to write them. It's because I've took so much time, like about 3 years, just to redefine who I am, who am I really. And I feel like that journey has really helped me. And I just wanted to say this to encourage other people in this group too. Like you really have to sit down and ask yourself, who are you? Not because what your family has always told you to be, or not who you always think like you are. Like you are whole infinite, like extension of consciousness. So you really have to define from that, then you'll be able to write the qualities down. Because sometimes like you writing down, but then you remember like, oh, my friend told me like, I cannot accomplish that. And that really affects you because you probably want to work on a business plan, but because of you have this certain belief about yourself, is going to limit you. So you have to break all these walls because you growing up is like everyone has been, painting like tattoos on you. So it's going to take you so much time to start, like cutting off the beliefs that, you grew up with from, it could be your environment or community or friends. So like, thank you so much. I really appreciate like, you crossing my path and just coming in like, in divine time. And I appreciate like everyone also joining this group as well. I'm looking forward for, seeing everyone grow and accomplish their goals. Yeah.
Thank you, Brainy. That's that's very insightful, and I love to listen because now I'm listening to you as though I had come to your class and I'm listening to you. Yeah, I picked something from that. So thank you very much. Thank you. And anyone else? Marwa, this is your first day. How did you find this strange adventure today? How did it feel like?
Okay. And it was nice of Brainy for about what she's just said, and wow, just to take her 3 years to figure things out like that scared me a little, because I've just sat down right now to write about what you told us to write about, the character and the self-discipline.
Yeah.
And I had literally nothing to write, just maybe 2 character points and one self-discipline point.
Yeah.
That has just shown me how I truly don't know anything about myself. And what she's said made a lot of sense, that you grow up believing in what other people tell you are. And for her to have gone through 3 years to figure out what she really is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a real challenge. So so far I've joined the chat late. I've joined the chat very late, but it seems nice. It seems educative, and I have gotten positive feedback from this little experience that I've had. And maybe as we go on, maybe I'll try to break through the barriers and break through a lot of walls and figure out who I really am and how to always stay inspired on what to do, because I've realized most of us always want to grow, but you don't know how to start and you don't know how to keep consistent. And And the little inspiration that you have, trust me, always disappears on your way as you try to achieve things. So it's been, I have never gotten to a point to say that I have really achieved this, because there's always something that takes me back. So hopefully, so hopefully for once in my life, I'll be able to figure it out and get to a point that I'll say I have finally achieved what I truly want, not what society expects of me. Yeah, so it was nice joining here.
Welcome, Marwa. It's great to have you on. Yes, and that's why this is not a weekend challenge. It's not a 7-day challenge. It's 90 days. If we maintain the mindset we have now for 90 days, things must change. Something significant must.
It's not easy. It's not really easy, but hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah. So that's and that's what you're raising, the at not being easy. That's a reality, and that's one of the traps we covered. It's a piece that you will get. That's in what we call the expectation trap. Expectation trap. When you're trying to do something significant, no matter what happens, you will face resistance from yourself, and sometimes you are the hardest person to convince because
true.
like, when other people, let's say you go face a challenge, you can tell other people like, you have no idea what I felt, right? But when it is yourself, you convince yourself that, when it's somebody else, you have to argue with them. But when it's yourself, you will be like, my God, it's too cold, and you buy into that, and I am too tired, and you buy into that, and you go. You don't even have the time to argue. You are the authority in your life. You are the dictator in your life.
I feel like mostly also environment has an impact on the mindset. If I don't know, it's what do you call environment? Do you also call the people around you the environment?
Yeah, everything
the physical?
Is not inside.
Yeah, if you're easily manipulated, or if you're easily put down, or if you're easily affected by what your environment is doing to you, that's when you never achieve and that's my biggest problem, I guess.
And that's why we are doing what we are doing. If you look at the 6 layers I shared, there is spiritual, identity, beliefs, capability, behavior. Those are 5 layers. Those ones are not part of the environment. Right? So it's the environment wins if these layers inside have become subject to the environment. It's going to take us a lot of work inside to make the environment subject to these layers, and that's what we are doing. So we all start from a place where the environment has such a strong influence, where the day it is shiny and warm, we are happy. The day it's cold and raining, we are not happy.
Exactly.
Yes. And so having that realization, Marwa, is extremely important, because if we don't start with that realization, then we don't know what we are up against. Yes. Brainy, do you want to add something?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to tell Marwa, like, thank you, I really appreciate. And I wanted to say something, because you mentioned something about like, I can hopefully change, right? And sometimes when I feel like I'm going through a hard situation, like I imagine, like, if you are God, right? If it was God, God wouldn't say like, I hopefully will change. God will definitely do that, right? So sometimes I'll imagine myself in that situation. And then when it comes to environment, there's something people say, like, the relationship that you have with yourself, sets tone for other people. So when you start, developing self-love and having boundaries, having love, like, not like a selfish love, but you want to grow on yourself, you'll figure out, you'll start losing other people. And there's nothing wrong with losing people, because sometimes we tend to outgrow people, and keep telling yourself, the right people are going to come in your life, great things are going to happen. Because sometimes we tend to feel bad, like, oh, I lost a friend of mine that we were, together for 5 years. But sometimes you also have to realize, like, everything comes to an end, and it's okay to, lose people in life. and love them from a distance and keep working on yourself. And then two,
Yeah.
also learn to be gentle with yourself. The growth it's not going to be easy, but keep telling yourself, it's like if you are a younger version of yourself, you'll keep telling yourself, like, okay, keep going, everything is gonna be all right. So just be gentle with yourself, and things will work out. And also learn to have a healthy conversation with yourself, because that's what you're telling God, that's what the universe is listening to. So when you change the language that you have with yourself by telling yourself, like, yeah, this is not going to be easy, but I'm going to do it,
Yes.
and it's going to happen. So just work on the language that you speak with yourself, and things will work out. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you. That's nice.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Brainy. Thank you, Ivy, Judith, Marwa, and Charity. Is that someone separate, or is it still one of us logged into two accounts? Charity, are you there?
It might be me again or something.
That's fine.
Oh yeah.
Could be.
Or I'll be having the past.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. All right, guys. So this today we've largely reviewed what we had covered, and I've introduced the SIBCBE. This is the centerpiece. This is the one thing that will bring everything that we learn together. This brings everything we learn together, and it's the model around which we will keep working. My hope is that we will get to a place where we undo. Everyone has the top 3 most limiting beliefs, and once you identify what those beliefs are, then you actually find freedom. When you are a child, you believe your parents at the same level you believe in God.
Yep.
When you are a child, you believe at your parents the same way you believe God. It's to a child, there's no difference between God and the parents. In fact, your father sometimes as a child is as big as God. He's free of mistakes. So some of what you learned as a child is supposed to be in the level of beliefs and identity, but some of it is so deep, it's spiritual. It's like a spiritual command, where if your father coughs, it doesn't matter whether you are 40 or 20 or 80, when your father coughs, you tremble. When your father says, come here, you tremble, almost like God has spoken. And that's why it's so important for us to become aware of what the beliefs are. And then we can figure out, is this belief at the level of belief, at the level of identity, or is it so deep that it's almost spiritual? Because the painful thing is that if you believe your parents to the extent that it's the level of belief is almost like, because sometimes the fear of parents is higher than the fear of God. That's the reality. What if that fear is associated with the negative attitude with which they treated you, or the harshness? Because African parents don't make mistakes. African parents are always right. What they say is always true. They cannot be questioned, right? They cannot be questioned. So when that person you've given that level, almost godlike level, becomes a source of pain to you, it will hurt you and hurt you deeply. So this piece that I've shared with you is going to be the centerpiece in what we cover going forward. And if there's one place we will keep returning to review and see what we are learning, it is the SIBCBE. And remember, we want to make the E powerless. We want to take the power out of the environment and keep the power within those 5 layers. And in those 5 layers, we want to shift as much power to identity as we can, where you can stand up before a crowd and tell them that I am a very creative person and I enjoy sharing my ideas with people. And when I commit, I show up, because you are not just saying it, you have bought into it so deeply and you are living that truth every single day. You stand up to people and tell them that I believe in myself. I believe in myself 100%. That I respect myself. I respect myself highly. I trust myself. Get to the place where you say that I trust myself. Sometimes you'll say, I trust myself. Then there is another voice saying, you really do? Right? So the aim is
Yeah.
the aim is to get to a place where you can say those things and you feel them. We have time. We have 3 months of doing this every day. Let's keep doing it. It is now 5:45 a.m. my time.
Okay.
I am
All
going to
right.
now log out, and I wish you guys an amazing the rest of the afternoon. And Judith, have a great day. I know it must be 6, almost 7 your time now.
Yeah, it's 6:45.
Yes. So look forward to see you guys again tomorrow. I'll be here every day until there's an element of growth that I am pursuing, that I want to get. There's a wall I want to break through. There's a wall I want to break through. And I'm hoping that you will break through some wall, so that when you look back in 2021, you look back to these 3 months and say, I didn't expect that to happen, but it happened. So that will be it from me today. I wish you well, and look forward to, I'm sending, I recorded an audio of the 6 steps in developing a personal plan. I will share it in the WhatsApp group. Share it with other people. Feel free. Don't. If I didn't intend that this material can go to anybody, I would keep it to myself. So it has never been an issue for me for people to share my material. Share it, and I hope you can go through those 6 steps again and make sure that you at least have started on the first 4: the decision, leverage, focus, and action. And as we go ahead, we will figure out and narrow down what the rest will be. So that will be it for today. If you have any feedback, please place it in the WhatsApp group, and see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you.
You're welcome.